is, but I know that sometimes I feel lucky. And you realize that other than that old guy that read first, every one of these poets were in a class that I taught while here. Taught might not be the right word, but... So I tried to be optimistic, because I thought that was the assignment. I feel optimistic about those crows out there. They're beautiful. You know, crows actually seem to have, they're one of the few animals that actually seem to have a sense of humor, because they've documented in two areas. One is that privately owned crows will play tricks on the people they feel are significant to them, hiding things and pretending things. So apparently, you know, crows just do that to each other all the time. It helps them get nothing done. And getting nothing done is a position of peace. And that's why when there's a criticism of a political candidate that seems appealing to me, somebody says he has no experience, I think, God, that must be a good characteristic. Just look at what the people with experience are doing. Ineptitude, who knows, may lead to world peace. So that's my form of hope and optimism. You expected an affordable daydream, but got an unhinged psalm. Oh well, you expected an early spring, no less than hell everyone deserves. Vexed as we are with these frizzled oscillations, the motor hardly turning over. The last of our fathers lifeless on the left side, a rowboat swoosh in his voice. But throw back your shot glass of tears, my dear, then wink into the mirror. We're still here after all. Love floats its bone in the throat, sometimes it hurts to swallow. The moon, once so full of itself, now spills a richer, more tipsy eclipse upon these boondocks. Kidnapped kids showing up in convenience stores across this fair land, tattooed but elfin still with the new knowledge of man. Some definitions chip away, but others, some fulsome, some frisky, some calm, come forth to take up neglected objects, direct and indirect both, so the healing may commence reconnecting us. What we've been alarmed wouldn't be freely dispensed, but turns out already lurking inside us, like that tiny liquid-filled orb inside a golf ball, where God is, or the beginning, that first density, first word we learned to read. In my case, it was look. I'm the only one who needs water. That tells you something. Thanks for inviting me to do this. These guys were great. It's an amazing place. Loveland. Everything this poem is true. I like to read books of trivia. And I think in many ways I aspire for a poem to be trivia, because trivia begins and it ends efficiently as possible. I like poems that begin and end and clean up after themselves. But because I'm not as decisive as trivia, this poem is much longer than it should be. Loveland. According to the Bible, Genesis 10:12, the chicken came before the egg. But at whatever point we designate that mutating lizard birdie thing a chip-stuffing character, sometimes waving, or throwing our voices, or throwing up. Art is the product of excess consciousness, not necessarily the result of luxury, but always luxurious. Consciousness itself is popcorn. I'm not saying it's all not surrealism for breakfast, or nihilism isn't a 25-pound bag of sidewalk salt, or when putting a body in a coffin, one shoulder shouldn't be lower and the head slightly cocked to de-emphasize the sense of a body in a box, or that the war will never stop, or that everything isn't empty, just not empty enough. The face contorts identically in tears and joy, but it all gets ironed out in Loveland, baby. Backup singers doing the wood chop. The Egyptians buried each other in honey, the only food that doesn't rot. A good way to split a lip is kissing in the cold.